The greatest rockumentaries that could refine your taste in music. Rock music is one of the most important forms of music to arise in world culture. From its very inception, rock's main significance as a medium lay in the special relationship it had with the values and strivings of the young. For over 40 years, rock music has been responsible for forming the social construct and behavior patterns for entire generations of different nations worldwide.
See what the center of the universe looks like.
And it still plays that role in today's world culture. Accordingly, over the span of half a century, many film adaptations have emerged that reflect on the music, as well as the social movements and values raging behind it. Let's now take a look at some of the most exceptional rockumentaries that offer us a unique insight into the crucial events, people, values, and trends of their time. Woodstock, 1970.
We were looking for answers. We were looking for other people that felt the same way as we did.
There is hardly anything substantially novel left to be said about this Oscar-winning masterpiece. Besides being one of the most crucial DVDs in the history of concert festival videography, Woodstock does exactly what a great documentary should do. It captures an important moment in history without any unnecessary commentary. No film or movie has ever given us such distinct insight into the wilderness of the late 1960s, as we witness 500,000 people gathered together for a festival that named a generation. And you are introduced to the viewpoints of basically everyone who was involved in it. Hippies, musicians, promoters, policemen, random people from settlements around the location, as well as what they had to say about the event, the impact of which was inconceivable to anyone present at the time.
We started to hear rumors that this thing was more or less out of hand because no one knew the amount of tickets that were sold.
50 years after Woodstock, major music festivals all around the world have spent millions in fruitless attempts to recreate its glory. And this 1970 documentary shows you every detail of why it's so virtually impossible to accomplish. Gimme Shelter, 1970. If Woodstock is a documentary about hundreds of people uniting in the name of peace, love, and music, Gimme Shelter is its ugly brother, depicting what can rightfully be named the end of a decade's illusion of a life in America free of animus and divide. In 1969, a free concert headlined by the Rolling Stones was held at the Altamont Speedway in California.
To the Altamont Speedway, where they are right now at this very moment in the cold 30-degree weather, setting up the stage, setting up the generators, the sound equipment, and the facilities for the people.
Security for the show was provided by the Hells Angels, armed with pool cues and knives in order to do the job. As you observe the shows progressing, you see the crowd getting more and more restless and violent, and the overall mood getting uglier with every song performed. 300,000 hippies under the supervision of drunk Hells Angels security proved to have been an ominous brew.
Why are we fighting? Why are we fighting?
And led to a massive violence and chaos, resulting in the death of one person.
Concert at the Altamont Speedway for more than 300,000 people. There were 4 births, 4 deaths, and an awful lot of scuffles reported.
With all that mayhem culminating during the Stones' performance of Sympathy for the Devil. Every moment of the tragedy is captured on camera and showed in the documentary, as it marked the ruin of the fairy-like dream of the Woodstock era in less than half a year after it took place in the East. This is Spinal Tap, 1984.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
Dubbed one of the funniest movies ever made by Roger Ebert.
Well, this piece is called Lick My Love Pump.
Rob Reiner's film made just as big an impact on the genre of rock documentaries as Monty Python's Life of Brian made on Christian films. It satirized the glorification of rock bands and their pretentious behavior forever, to the extent that even today's rockumentary directors have to take caution in order to avoid over-idolizing their characters and thus making fun of themselves and their work.
Straight through this door here, down the hall, turn right, and then there's a little jog there, about 30 feet, jog to the left.
We don't have time for that.
This is Spinal Tap quickly amassed a cult following, and basically launched a new genre of the mockumentary that soon found its own way in the history of comedy. And the most recent example of Gentle and Soft, The Blue Jeans Committee, written by Fred Armisen, Bill Hader, and Eric Kenward, proves that people still laugh their heart out while watching those parodies, 30 years after Rob Reiner's film.
My question is what took you so long?
This is Spinal Tap is hilarious to musicians as well as non-musicians, but especially to those who've witnessed what really happens backstage with many A-class shows and musicians, and what those brainstorming and creative sessions really look like. I'm definitely one of those people, and trust me, even in today's live music industry, the spirit of This is Spinal Tap is very much alive. Meeting people is easy, 1998.
And everybody does it, and that's what being an adult is. And then you have babies, and that's it.
In music documentaries, the exhausting and tedious process of going on tour is often masked with glamour and limelight, and that's where this 1998 film excels in honesty. As if Radiohead's music was not depressive enough by itself, we are introduced to the constant neurotic tensions of being a true rock star as we observe the amount of work most of those artists have to put in order to maintain the facade. The endless routine of concerts, photo shoots, meet and greets, and answering the same stupid questions over and over again gradually takes its toll on the band members and their mental fortitude. A must-see for anyone who enjoys the band's music and their personalities, as well as a great reality check for many aspiring artists who get a sneak peek at what fame can look like. Anvil, the story of Anvil, 2008.
And we've been playing this extraordinary game of poker for years and not really winning.
Anvil, the story of Anvil is simply the most heartbreaking rockumentary ever made. It's about two 50-something Canadian metal rockers refusing to give up their dream of making it big. And while often their efforts to do so, and the situations they find themselves in, are undoubtedly comical, the bitter reality of their everyday lives and the crash after every failed attempt to chase their stardom is not something you will want to laugh at.
It's over. It's been over for a long time.
It's so unfair to Anvil. It's so unfair to Anvil.
The struggle of the band and their perseverance they show in the face of the industry machine that, much like their own families and friends, continues to ignore them because of their age, is unabashedly human and will definitely touch the heart of many even non-metal fans. As for the people involved in the entertainment scene, I have yet to meet a musician who has watched the film and hasn't cried over the misfortunes of Lips and Rob, because everyone, even remotely involved in performing music, will instantly recognize the chaotic paradigm of talent and expectations, and it's impossible not to get emotional while witnessing this fable of friendship, dreams, and resilience come to life. Shut Up and Play the Hits, 2012.
That your age seems to play a role in a lot of the things you think about.
The case of James Murphy, the frontman of LCD Sound System, is an important deviation from the standard Veni Vidi Vici template of the career of a leader of a famous band in modern days. He founded LCD Sound System when he was well over 30, after dropping out of NYU at 22, and also refusing a writing job for the sitcom Seinfeld, as he did not expect the show to become successful, given that it was little known at the time.
That's a shame.
In his own words, he has been a complete failure for 15 years. Nowadays, he is very forthcoming about sharing what it means to fail in life and how to deal with it.
No, I just kind of like frittered my years away doing nothing and being in dead-end relationships and dead-end bands and stuff.
Not a very common topic for a rock dance music star. On April 2nd, 2011, LCD Sound System played what was thought to have been its final concert at Madison Square Garden. James Murphy had made the conscious decision to disband one of the most celebrated and influential bands of its generation at the peak of its popularity, ensuring that the band would go out on top with the biggest and most ambitious concert of its career. The show instantly sold out, and Rockumentary provides a unique perspective on what it felt like to be both in the crowd and on the stage that night, the events of which were labeled a marvel of pure craft by the New York Magazine.